All right. Well, I am Rob with Campus Contact, formerly of School Desk. And School Desk, in case you didn't know, is now Campus Contact. We've got a new website, a new logo, new color palette, and a just amazing, awesome new system that I'm going to show you today. If you haven't taken the time to cruise around our new website, go poke at it and see what you think. There's quite a bit of new interesting information out there. You might just find out that we've got some stuff you didn't even know about. We certainly have a lot of new features and functions that we're going to talk about in the new system, and we're going to dive right in. So campuscontact.com is where you'll find us, and if you need any support later on, because we're not going to be able to cover a lot of stuff, there's quite a bit of stuff we're not going to get a chance to get to. Come back in and read about it in the features, or click on the support link, and you can ask us any questions you might need. There's a huge knowledge base of information that you can find here about how to use the website and all the stuff that I'm not going to get a chance to cover today. So go take a look at campuscontact.com/support, or just click on support. This is also where you can ask us questions, submit trouble tickets. We can do remote support and help you out on your computer as well. So this is the place to get to us to answer any of your questions that you might have. Of course, you also got to us here at campuscontact.com/training. Training, there it is, which is where we are going to be hosting today's training session. So this is where we put all of our training recordings up here. You'll see last week's and the week before, and we'll be adding today's there as well, and a little bit of information about how to build and manage your website there as well. So let's dive right into your new Campus Contact website. So one thing you're going to notice in your new websites is that there's no login at the bottom of your page anymore. It's gone. So all School Desk websites used to have a little login link at the bottom, and we found that the kids just loved to bang on that login link and just test it, and just drove us crazy. And it really created kind of a potential issue. So now there is no more login link on your website. You're going to have to use the old noggin, and remember that we have a separate URL for logging into your websites. The new URL, and you'll get this when we add you to your websites as an administrator, will be admin.campuscontact.com. So we're just going to go administer your website at admin.campuscontact.com. That's where you're going to log in, and it'll take you to a page that looks like this, and you will then log in with your credentials, and I'm going to log in with mine. So remember, admin.campuscontact.com. That's where you're going to log in to manage your website. And when you log in, now you get greeted with a new little dashboard. And this dashboard is going to allow you to manage any or all of the sites that you have access to manage. So if you, in my case, I only see one because I've only got one for this training class. But if you manage multiple websites, you'll see them all stacked up in here, and you'll just be able to jump on any of them and edit any of those. You can edit any existing website by just clicking on the little thumbnail picture here, or go to the right side, which is what I do. I like to click on the actual word edit. So you can click on the edit word, and that will take you into the edit mode to start managing the website. Before I do that, I want to talk about some of the other items over here on this dashboard. The next one is preview. It allows you just to take a look at your website in different modes. So if you're managing multiple websites, you can jump in real quick and see them all right here and see how they're going to look on the different types of devices. So that's kind of a cool, neat thing. And you can see it on Android devices or Apple devices or tablets or full screen, however you want to see it. So it's kind of neat to just see how your site's looking in the various devices. So you can do that real quick by clicking on the preview link and just preview your site there. There's also a stats link. In the past, everybody wanted Google Analytics, so the new system actually has analytics built right into the system. You don't even need Google Analytics anymore. If you want it, we'll show you where you can add it, but you don't really need it anymore because stats are built right in. Now, this being a training site, there's not a whole lot of stats because it's actually a hidden site. Nobody can see it. But here we can come in, and across the top, we can see stats from yesterday. This one has no stats. Last week, last month. Click on the calendar, and you can select any given date range. So that's kind of cool that you can go back and see all the traffic of any particular date. And at a glance, you can see the desktop, tablet, or mobile traffic specifically as well. And if you need to present these reports to anybody, just click on the download PDF button, and then you can download and save all of these reports that you print out. So it's really nice and convenient to have it right here. You can also see views or visits or both. And over on the left-hand side, there's even some more detailed information about content data. So this shows you specific page views and time on page, bounce rate, all that important stuff, engagement, traffic sources, like where they come from and how are they getting there. Are they using a tablet or desktop or mobile device? You can even see what browser they're using. So this will show you all of the different browsers. Of course, I only use Chrome. With our new system, of course, you can use the dreaded Internet Explorer. We absolutely hate it and don't recommend it. But if you have to, you have to, and it will work just fine. We really recommend Chrome or Firefox, but it'll work on any browser. This system does work on Apple Mac devices as well, so there's no problem there either. So you literally use any browser you want, any operating system you want. So that's always nice. And you can also see geolocation traffic, so you can track where your visitors are coming from. Of course, the majority of them should be from the United States. We have opened it up so that your website can be visited from outside the U.S. now, but that should not be any concern to most folks. We do have a few schools who have sister schools in other countries, and so they'll need access, and you want to see where the traffic's coming from in different countries, you can do that. And you can also see the inside traffic, meaning personalization. And we'll talk about pop-ups and things that you can do for personalization really briefly, but that's going to be another more detailed training class specifically for that. So we'll talk about that shortly. So let's go back to our dashboard. I'm going to go back and just click on sites, and that takes me back to my main dashboard. Again, if you manage multiple sites like we do, if you have a large district like, I don't know, Tucson or Oklahoma City, or you've got 60 or 80 different sites to manage, you can type in the name or even just a few initials, and it will immediately show you that particular school in the list. So it makes it real quick and easy to get to. On this row where our site was, one more thing we wanted to see was the form responses. So this is really nice. In the past, you had to go to every page to find the responses to all your forms. We have now aggregated that, and it's all in one location. So if you have 50 forms on your website, you don't have to jump around to 50 places to find them. You click on form responses, and they all are right there in one location. Again, this being a training site, nobody submitted anything, so it's not really a thing, but they're there. Hang on one second. Looks like somebody's chatting with us. Maybe. We're gonna sorry about that. Knocked my mic over. We're gonna try to hold questions off until the end of the class. So bear with me on that. Write it down and catch up with me toward the end. This is the high-level training class, by the way. There will be another one at 4 this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time, where we're going to do more of a deep dive and get into actually managing the content. We're going to show you some of the really fun stuff. But today we're just, or at least this particular class, is the high-level overview. So anyhow, so here's your edit, preview, stats, and your form responses. There will be other items added here as we build out, as we continue to build out the system. The last thing about the dashboard is, of course, at the very top, your own personal account. You can click on that and manage your own personal name, email, password, that sort of information there. So if you need to change that information, you can do that on your own anytime. I'm going to click on edit and jump right into a website, our training site, and we'll show you what it looks like. Now this is a sample site. This is actually using one of our many templates. We have lots of different templates we can select from these days. So things have really come a long way for us. But in this website, we're not going to manage much of the content yet. We're going to do that for this afternoon. What we want to focus on is where is everything and how do you get to it and what do you do with it all? Well, let's start at the very top. So at the top, we've got this black bar. And this black bar is the first row or first area of management options. First, on the left, we've got a drop-down that lets you jump real quick to any page in the site that you want to manage. So if you've got tons and tons of pages, you can just click on this drop-down, and it's like the old page manager that lets you just jump to any page you want. So you can just jump around. Of course, you can also get to pages by clicking on them in the navigation, but you may, like a lot of schools, you may have some pages that are hidden in your navigation, so they won't even show up in the navigation up here. So you can get to them from this drop down. There's also another way to get to pages, and that's clicking on the Pages button on the far left. That will show the entire hierarchy of pages in your site, and you can see all pages that way as well. We'll talk about the items on the left-hand side in just a minute. On this black bar at the top, we've got different views, so we can, just like we showed you on the preview earlier, we can see your site in different device modes. So that's kind of fun that you can, and it's actually extremely helpful to be able to manage your site in the different device modes, whether it's tablet or mobile or desktop, so that you can see exactly how it's going to work and look on the different devices. And of course, you can move it, you can move things around based on whatever device you're working on, and really get things tweaked and really set just the way you want them for any specific device. So that's pretty cool. A little further to the right, we've got a search editor, search the editor, and there are just a gazillion things in the editor. So this just helps you search them all. If you just start typing something, I'll just hit the letter A, you'll see that there's lots of help here for us. So it's just kind of a quick access to whatever it is you want to find. And it's kind of fun if you just start poking around in here. You'll see there's a lot of information in here. So just type whatever it is you might be interested in, and it will show you pretty much anything you want in here. To the right of that is your Info and Tools button. And that little drop down shows you a little bit of information about your site. For one, it shows your site name. That's your actual URL. We can change the URL to be whatever you guys want it to be, so that's easy to manage. And you can also see the status of your website. So whether it's published or whether it's still hidden, you can see it in here. And you can unpublish your site or hide your site if you're a district level administrator. Most standard school level administrators won't have the ability to turn off an entire site, but at the district level you certainly can. You also have a preview link so that you can manage your website, and if you need to show it to anybody before it goes live, you can actually share this link here and send it to anybody. So it's kind of nice that you can show it to people before it's actually live. You can make all kinds of changes in it, share this link, you can copy it, and they can come over here and paste it, and they can see exactly how your site's looking before it goes live if you have to get permission or approval to make that site live. So in several people's cases, you're migrating your content, or maybe even totally redesigning your website from the old school desk system to the new campus contact system. And you don't want it to go live yet, but you want to be able to share it maybe with the board or principals or whoever else. Well, you can share this preview link with them, and they can see how it's coming along, and they can always see your site before it's even live. There's another link out to the stats. So this is that same stats area, but now it's actually within your site so that you can jump out to it. If you click the open stats, of course, it's going to take you right back where we were a few minutes ago to see all of the different stats if you wanted to. So it's just another short, quick link there. And then last is the editor language. You can change the editor language, not the site content language, but you can change the editor. That's the area where we are now. So if you speak Spanish or French or whatever it may be, you can change the language of the editor itself to make it more comfortable for you while you're editing the website. After that, we have a little check mark here. And this is interesting in that it shows how your content is saved, because one thing that's different about the new system is that everything is auto-saved. So as you go along and adding stuff and updating things to your page is not going to have to refresh anymore. That's awesome. So it's very fast, and it doesn't have to reload the page every time. And there's no save button. It saves automatically. And you'll know that it saves because you'll watch this little check mark turn into 3 little dots while it's saving, while it's doing its auto save. And then it'll turn back into a check mark, and you'll know that all changes are saved. So that's kind of fun to know that as you make any kind of changes, whatever you change, and you watch that little thing at the top there. As soon as I save it, it'll turn to some little, well, that happened so fast. There we go. There's some little dots, and you'll see that it'll change back automatically to all changes saved. So that's very comforting to know that everything is automatically saved all the time, and you don't have to worry about any of it being lost. You have the undo and redo options. If you're like me and you make lots of mistakes, don't worry about it. You can hit the undo button and go back as many steps as you want. You can actually go back. We've tested it. We can go back about 100 steps back. So just click the undo button, all you need, and undo whatever it is you do. So it's very easy to undo any changes, or if you break something, or if you manage to break it, that'll be impressive because we can't. So it's a very strong, sturdy, unbreakable system. Go in there and play with stuff and do what you want. You can, of course, if you go too far back, you can also redo any changes. So you can go back and forth as needed. You have a preview option that lets you preview the site so you can see how it's going to look to the real world. And if you click on that, you'll see that now I can actually click on things in the site, and I don't get those weird boxes that I was seeing just a minute ago around everything. Well, those boxes are what you're mousing over to edit, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. But you may find that sometimes it's easier to click and test on things in the preview mode rather than in the edit mode, because it actually lets you click on things without the system thinking you're trying to edit it. And then last is a big blue button called Republish. It's not last, but it's almost last. And you're really going to want to pay attention to this. As I said that everything's auto-saved, it doesn't mean that it's auto-published to the world. So you can come into your new website, you can make all kinds of changes to it and add new photos and pages and text and videos and all kinds of cool stuff, and it'll look awesome. Nobody else in the world is ever going to see that information until you hit the Republish. Yep, it will automatically be saved, but it's not automatically published. So that if you make a bunch of changes, you can take your time to change and update and do whatever you want on the back end. Nobody sees you while you're changing it. They're never going to see the changes until you hit the Republish button. So make sure you put that in the forefront of your thought as you're managing your websites, to remember that you need to hit that Republish button in order for your changes to be seen by the world. Now, as soon as you hit that, everything does go live. So, you know, it's a very quick step. You just hit Republish, and you republish your site, and you're done. That's all it takes. So make sure that you don't forget to hit the Republish button, or you're going to be wondering, where's all those changes I just made? I added a bunch of stuff. It looks great, and I don't see it on the live site. Nope, not until you hit Republish. You won't see it. So make sure you click that button. I just can't reiterate that enough. To the right of that is a little help icon. That takes you back to the same help that I showed you a minute ago that you would get from our from our campus contact website. So that's just the website help. Looks like we have a question rolling in here. Maybe? Oh, okay. Not sure what that is. Okay. So let's keep on rolling. So we've got our help icon, and then last is our home button. This takes you back to your dashboard so you can jump to another site or preview, stats, whatever else you need. So that's your top row of icons and options. So let's talk about the items on the left-hand side. This is where we're going to get into the meat of it. And you have access to pretty much every single thing in your website. You can manage everything now. So you don't really need us to manage your site for you, although we'll certainly be here to help you. And you have access to all these items on the left. I'm going to ask you to please not use the design option, although you do have access to it. And you can click on it and go in there and poke around and experiment and do all kind of stuff. You can absolutely mess things up and make a big mess of your site by doing so. So I really recommend that you don't, although you do have access to it, I want to recommend and highly stress that you do not change the design tab, because we will do that for you. What you'll find in this design tab are the global fonts. Maybe you want to change the overall fonts of your site, the font colors, the base font colors. You'll find all the styling stuff that we use when we build out your site. And here we can also manage your buttons, how all the buttons in the site are going to look, the colors, the fonts there, shapes, shadows, all that stuff, as well as the images and rows, background, and even this overall site layout, the design of it. Now, if we want to come in here and change your site later, we can do that for you. We'll be happy to do this with you. So, for example, your site by default is probably going to have your menu across the top. If you want to try a sidebar menu, you can click on that and see how it's going to look and say, ooh, I might like that more, or not. Totally up to you. You can go back to design and we can change that site layout to maybe a different kind of sidebar. Actually, this one actually has no menu, and you have to click it at the top to get to the menu. So you can see there are different design options. And these are things that we will manage for you. So you don't need to come in here and manage this at all. Make sure I put it back where it was. But you can see that there's different options here. Again, this is where we will manage your website for you, but you don't need to come in here and poke around at it. I do take the time to show it to you just to satisfy some curiosity as to what's in there that we don't want you poking at. Well, you can see it's nothing disastrous, but we have designed your sites for you based on the request from your district administration. So we just request that you don't go in there and undo it and mess it all up or make any changes that are not authorized. So it's there, just ignore it. You don't need to mess with it. Well, let's focus on all the other cool stuff like the page manager. So we can click on pages, and here's your page manager. In the past, you had to click on it and it loaded another page very slowly, and you eventually got to it. Now you can see all your pages right here on the side of your site. You can even drag and drop real easily to resort, change order of pages, put them wherever you want. To make a page a child page, meaning you want to put it under another page, you can simply drag it to the right, and you'll see it changes the location of it, and now it's under there. You can see I can put everything under home by just dragging it to the right. And now at the top, you'll see my navigation now in the middle here in the yellow is where everything is. So I just moved everything out. So I can drag it back to the left and bring it back out. So it's no longer a child page. Now everything's a parent page again at the top level. So it's easy to manage your pages just by dragging and dropping and moving in left or right or up and down or however you want to change the order or hierarchy of your pages. Also on every one of these pages is a little icon that lets you manage the page name. You can even hide pages in your navigation, which is something very common where you'll have a page that is maybe linked to from a quick link or an icon or something on your page. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your navigation menu. So you can hide pages in the menu. You can even hide pages based on different devices. So you may have some content that just doesn't work well on mobile. Maybe, I don't know, something really big that you don't want to show on mobile. Maybe a large video because you think it might just be more than most mobile folks can use. You can hide that. You can duplicate pages. You can change the page URL. So if you're doing some marketing and you want to change the actual URL that they type in, yourschool.com/whatever it is, you can manage that easily right here. Also in these settings, you can even change the SEO, or meaning you can block the site from, or I'm sorry, this one particular page from being crawled by search engines. You can manage the page title, the page description, keywords, and if you need to, you can even set a password for the page so that it's only accessible if people know the password. So you may have a set of pages that are maybe just for teachers or staff that you don't want the general public to have access to. You can manage that in here as well. If you have any particular header HTML content that you need to add, you can add that in here as well. This is the kind of thing that you might get if you go to Google and you're trying to use Google Analytics and they want you to verify site ownership. They give you a little snippet and they say enter this into your website, in your header HTML. You would just go copy it from Google and paste it in here and save it, go back to Google and verify it, and then it'll know that you own the site. Otherwise, that's generally not used for most folks. So again, all of this information is accessed under pages, and click on the little icon to the right of any page and you can manage all the different page settings right there in the site. So it's real quick and easy to jump out to page settings to do whatever you want. Creating new pages is easy as well, and it's actually, there's a lot of cool stuff here. So if you want to go create a new page, you simply click on New Page. And when you click on a new page, you'll have an option to select the page type. And there are three main types that you're going to use, but we also have quite a few other interesting new pre-designed template pages for you. So the main one most folks are going to use is going to be just a plain old blank page, and it's just that. Nothing on it. You're going to start from scratch and add stuff to it. Another type of page that's commonly used is a page URL, meaning that there's a link on this page. So instead of clicking it in the navigation and going to a page, you click it and it takes you to another URL. Maybe it takes you to a document, or it takes you to another third-party website, or whatever it may be. You may have a link in the navigation that says PowerSchool. You don't want to just go to a blank page and then click an icon. You want to jump right out to PowerSchool. So you would link that URL, or I'm sorry, that page right to PowerSchool and select, of course, page URL to do that. The last kind of page that you may create is what we call a folder page. And I know it sounds kind of odd to think of a folder or page. Basically, that's a placeholder. It's not an actual page that you're going to go to, but it's just a placeholder where you'll have other pages under it. So, for example, if you have a page called Departments, maybe just clicking on that Departments page gets you nothing because it's just a blank placeholder. But under that, you may have athletics or academics or registration and, I don't know, arts and history and whatever else kind of things you may have underneath it. So the top level is just a placeholder. And we're going to create all these kind of pages. So it may just be for nothing for you. So let's go create all the different types of pages. But before we do that, let's talk about some of these templates. So we have these different kinds of templates that we created for you that make creating pages kind of a shortcut. And it creates this really nice content for you that you simply go in and retype. And basically, you just change the photo and change the text and make it your own. So if you're creating a Contact Us page, there's a Contact Us page already for you. If you're going to do something about the things you guys do in your school, maybe services, there's one already. Maybe a portfolio page. It's done. Click on it and change the photos. Maybe a project, or maybe a big landing page for some marketing thing you're doing. Maybe some big upcoming event. You can create all kinds of pages based on these templates that we've already created for you, and there's new ones coming out all the time. So that you basically will save you a lot of time in creating a new page. You just click it and make one. So we're not going to dive really deep into page management just yet, but I'll just show you real quickly how to do it. And again, at 4 o'clock, we're going to do a lot more about page management. But to create a blank page, we just click on blank page, say my new page. Hopefully you'll type better than me, and click add. And of course, that just creates a new blank page. There's nothing on it. And you'll see on the left-hand side, it's called my new blank page. I can, of course, drag it and move it wherever I want, or manage the page settings like I showed you a minute ago. So blank page isn't real exciting. It just creates a blank page that we can then start adding stuff to. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock training. Another kind of blank, or another kind of page, is the page URL. So I mentioned if we're going to link a page to PowerSchool, we'll type in the page name, give it the URL, and click Add Page. Now, if we go back out here, did I make that under? Okay, it's a separate page. My navigation's getting a little full, so I'm going to stack up some of these pages just so you can see how they all look. There we go. So it doesn't drop down to a second row. Now, if I go into preview mode here and click on PowerSchool, you'll see I get this little pop-up that says external link. You're going to be the only ones to see that. It's just kind of a alert to let you know, hey, this is going to take you out of the site. Do you want to do that? Sure, go right ahead. Click open link, and it'll take you out to the PowerSchool website. Otherwise, if you see that, you can just say, got it, or leave it alone and just go away from it. It's just a little reminder to let you know that this is a link that's taking you to another page. This, of course, is our blank page. And let's go back into the preview mode and add another kind of page, and that is our folder page. So I'm going to call this departments. So you'll see, again, it's when I create a folder page, if I go into my preview mode, click it, it doesn't do anything. It's just a placeholder, but it lets me put other things under it. So if I put my other pages, I'm going to move that one up here, up my page list. Let me move it out. Let's put my other pages under that one. So you'll see. Now if I go to preview, again, clicking on departments doesn't do anything. It's just a placeholder for me to get to my other items under that. So that's the main three kinds of pages that you're going to add. Of course, the other types of pages are a lot of fun, so you can create some really cool pages just by using the template information. If you're going to create a Contact Us page, just click Contact Us, and there's your new Contact Us page. And we'll show you how to manage all the content here, but it's literally just a matter of clicking on it and changing the photo to something else you want, and changing the text to be whatever you want. To be. So again, we'll talk about managing content later as well. But for now, just so you can see the different kinds of pages. That's how we manage pages. That's how we create pages. There's some of the different page types. And of course, page settings by clicking on the little icons next to them. So let's talk about stuff on your page. Well, we used to call them modules. We now call them widgets. It's really the same thing. If you click on widgets, you'll see there's a whole bunch of them that show up. We have a lot more features and functionality than ever before. And to use any of these, you simply grab them and you drag them out to the page. So you want to add a photo gallery for whatever reason, just drag it out to the page, and you can do that. Add another widget, maybe a calendar, just drag it out there, put it on the page, and you're done. So there's my calendar. So adding content to the page is super easy, very fast and easy. Just drag it up to the page and add more stuff to it. And we're not going to add links yet. But that's really all there is to it. And there's lots of different widgets. Because there are so many actually, if you forget what it was called or where it was, you can search for it as well. I just typed in Google. I was looking for something for Google. I can see that there's Google related options already. So whatever it may be, announcements or accordion, whatever you're looking for, you can find them in here just by searching for it. Or just scroll down the list and you'll see that they're pretty well grouped in different types of functionality. Basic, of course, being text and dividers and spacers and columns, lists, tables, sliders, directory, that kind of stuff. Then we have some media, meaning photo and videos, more businessy type applications. So we do have some third-party integration now. Of course, building out forms, multi-location maps, integrating all kinds of things here, different counters, counting up and counting down, social integration, so we can embed Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds and Instagram. We can make little sticky icons on the left-hand side for all of your social links. And at the very bottom, of course, we can do some of the more advanced options like secondary navigation, more complex tables, even adding a live chat like the one that we have on our website. You can add one to your website just by clicking live chat. And now parents and students can contact you directly, as well as HTML if you needed to add any kind of widgets, maybe third-party code for whatever it is, you can add that in there as well. So those are just some of the different widgets. And so there's actually two ways to add widgets into your website. One is, of course, clicking on the widget link on the left, but the other is actually right-clicking anywhere on your page. So if I go out to the page and I right-click in a blank area, I have the add. Actually, I'm going to right-click. Oh, we'll go here, better area. I'm going to right-click on any area of my page and add widget below. So that comes up and it lets me add a widget below the one that's above there that I've already added. And I can quickly add text or an image or buttons or icons. Those are kind of the shortcuts to the more common ones. Or if you want to add something that's not one of these, you can click on more widgets. And of course, it shows all the same ones that were on the left-hand side there. And just a quick pop-up, so you can add them that way as well. So we'll just add a countdown. And so there's a sample countdown. So you can add all kinds of stuff to the page. Now what's great about this new system is we can drag and drop things real easily on the page. And if we want to move their calendar from the left to the right, just drag it from the left to the right. Move these puppies from the left. We can do that. So we can move everything around. We can drag it up. We can drag it down. And we can quickly move stuff around. We can even resize things. We'll talk about these panes here shortly as well, and that we can resize the columns. So there's no more fixed panes anymore. You can manage stuff by just dragging it around. That we'll talk about at the 4 o'clock training as well. So columns and rows, everything is very easily manageable. Again, I got to the widgets either on the side, clicking on widgets, or just click on any widget and you can add a new one below and add more. Don't worry about all the other things that are showing up in this little pop-up when you right click on a widget. We'll talk about some of those options later, but it allows, there's options are to edit the content of that widget. Of course, we can even edit design now. We'll talk about content and design shortly. Adding widgets, we can manage the alignment, whether it's going to be centered, left, or right. We can clear the padding if there's too much padding. We can even build in animation now for everything on your page by clicking on it, right-clicking on it actually, and select how you want it to appear on the page. You want it to come in from the left, or do you want it to bounce in, or maybe come up from the bottom? You can do all of that real easily. We can also, there's some container options. We can hide things on different devices. We can copy content. We can do anchors, and we'll talk about anchors later. We can even edit the HTML and CSS for any specific item that we want, or just click on delete to get rid of it. So there's lots and lots of cool options by right-clicking on any of the widgets. So that's how we add widgets. We can move them around. We can add more widgets right from the page or from dragging them over there. Or we can play with lots of different settings of the widgets as well. So we'll get into some of that stuff later on and dive a little bit deeper into the widgets. But just know that there is a ton of really cool stuff you can do. And everything is really, really easy to just move around and manage however you see fit. So it's extremely easy to move stuff around and shuffle stuff as you see fit. So that's kind of neat. Let's move on to the content manager, and that's the next button on the list. This is your old file manager, and this is where we can manage images and files, as well as some of your basic content of your website, or actually the main business info, basically your contact and phone information, address, all that sort of stuff that's really important to you. So we can manage your business info by putting in your phone numbers, your contact addresses, any specific social links that you have, the address for this particular location, or maybe even multiple locations. Any specific text. This really helps in the search engines, as well as any images and any collections that you want to create for your content. So you can create new specific collections of photos or even content such as documents. You want to create a whole new collection for HR documents. You can add them in there, and you'll have a different folder specifically for your whatever information it is you want. You can manage your images in here, and there's a lot of literally thousands of images already provided for you. So there's free images that we provided, and there's a huge, huge library of photos available. So if you want to just type in student, hopefully student, there you go. You'll get pictures of students, maybe school in general. You'll get pictures for school, things related to school. So you've got thousands and thousands of stock images available to you in your image manager already. So that's really nice that you don't have to go hunting and pecking around in Google. These are royalty-free images that you can use at your leisure, and they're all very high quality, really good, resizable, easy to manage photos. Of course, you can manage your own photos, and if we've moved your sites from School Desk to Campus Contact, then all of your photos came over with you, and we'll have your folders in here as well. And you can create new folders by clicking on Manage Images and add a new folder. Just click on Add New Folder, and you can say, I don't know, athletics. Click done. And there's your athletics folder. Now, if you want to create subfolders, maybe you want to create one for football. Oh, that one already exists. How about baseball? Does it really? Baseball's already there as well. Let's do soccer. All right, I know I don't have soccer in there. So we can create additional folders here. We can make those subfolders by dragging the folders up into the top level folder, or we can drag it to the right just like we did earlier. And now we can create subfolders under athletics. So I can take my football and I can drag that under there as well. And now I've got all my photos organized in the way that I want them. So it's nice to be able to manage your photos. And then of course from there, you can upload unlimited number of photos, just drag and drop them right from your computer. And it's really, really fast. And it will even automatically resize and optimize your image for the web. So you can upload directly from your camera, go crazy. Upload a 10 meg photo, we don't care because it's gonna automatically get crushed down to whatever the best optimized size is for the web. And you're no longer gonna have that problem where uploading giant photos affects your page performance. No longer an issue, go nuts, upload giant photos and we don't care because they'll get crushed down to super fast images. We do use multiple CDNs and different methods of delivering the content to you super fast, so it doesn't really matter at all. So that's really nice. And so those are your images, your files, your basic information. You can also manage forum responses from here as well. And we can even do a find and replace of some of the default information that we add to it. So if we build out your site and your address changes or your phone number changes, we can change that in here. And we can go through it here and replace all of them and do it one time. So if your phone number is in your website a dozen times, don't worry about it. You may not even know where they all are. You can do it right here by using this system here, and it will automatically change everywhere in your website. Pretty cool. Just do it instantly for you. So that's your content manager, your old file manager built in there as well. Oh, and I didn't mention that you can also import content from other websites as well. So if there's another website, maybe your old website, we can import all your content from there. It will pull in all your photos and pull everything over for you. We're not going to have a lot of time, excuse me, to talk about it because this really is a kind of a big section on its own. But personalization, you can do pop-ups and special information all over your website based on whatever you want it to be, really, whether it's users' device that they come in on, any specific date or time, whatever the reason is. Maybe you're doing a specific campaign or set up for holidays. You can do these little pop-ups that will show up, and you can customize them, of course, so that you can have information show up on your website whenever you want it to show up. And I don't even know which one I clicked on. I clicked on a pop-up, whatever type when you're around. How about we do an out of office? Let's go preview that, see what that looks like. So maybe you're going to put up a little pop-up for after hours. You can have this little pop-up come up anytime somebody visits the website and automatically say, oh, we're out right now. Of course, you can manage this and redesign it and change it however you want. But you can put up whatever information you want so that, you know, based on the actions of the end user, whoever's come to the website, or the device they're on, or the date or time or holiday, whatever it is, you can show a specific personalized information to them just for that particular user. So it's kind of cool if you want to do a mobile campaign and you want to pop up something specific to mobile users that other users don't see, you can do that just based on the device type. So there's a lot of fun stuff we can do. We also have a school store available now. So you can add a store up to 10 products, and it's a fully functional store. It does use PayPal or the Google Gateway to check out, but it has everything you need. It's a full e-commerce platform built into the website. If you need additional products beyond 10, contact us and we'll work with you on that. There are different prices, up to $250 or $2,500 even, different products. So it depends on what you need specifically. But for free, you can create a 10-product store, and there are a lot of settings. We're not going to do that now, but we will definitely do a specific training just for the store to show you how to set that up. But we'll also walk through it with you to get it set up just the way that you want. Everybody's got different ways of wanting to set up their store, and there are a gazillion options in there to configure it however you want. So that's something we'll set you up with or work with you to get set up. So, or you can go in and play with it on your own at any time. There's also a blogging feature. To add a blog, just click add blog and start blogging. So it's really, really nice blogging. In fact, if you haven't seen these new Campus Contact blog, go take a look and follow our new blog, and you'll see it's extremely clean and simple and easy to manage. It's really, really nice blog. It's very, very simple to manage. So you'll like that. So if any principals or superintendents or whoever wants to do any blogging, just click add blog and they can start blogging away, go crazy with it. And then the last button down here is in settings. And there's lots of different settings. Not too much you can mess up in here. Maybe a few things we want to change for you or that you'll want to change later on. One of them being the favicon. That's that little link that's at the very top of the site in the little tab. That's also the link now that Google shows. If you do a search for anything, you'll see that it now shows up in Google. If you do Campus Contact, you'll see, oh, I may have it turned off on mine. Yeah, I've killed it on mine. Well, a lot of times in Google searches, especially on mobile devices, you'll see the little icons to the left of them all. I've got that turned off of mine for performance. But the favicon you can also see at the top in the little tabs here. And that's something you can manage on your own now, as well as the social network image. What's going to be displayed on these specific networks, you can decide, as well as the home screen icon for mobile devices. And we'll show you why that comes into play in just a minute, because we can turn your website into an app. So let's also go down the list here and we'll look at the others. One is the site URL. So if you need to change your URL to whatever you want, maybe yourschool.com, or you want to go off and purchase a specific domain for your site, you can absolutely do that. And we can change that URL really quickly at any time. Site SSL, all sites now get SSL by default. So that's a huge improvement and upgrade. Every site is more secure than ever before, and we will take care of that for you as part of our setup. So that's something we'll do. You'll see it's great out there. You can't do that, but just know that SSL is going to be applied by us. At the time that your site goes live, we'll take care of that for you. There is an SEO tab. Now this is at the site level. The other was at the page level that we looked at earlier, where we can manage SEO at the page level. So there's a big difference in that. You can manage SEO, search engine optimization, and keywords specifically for any individual page, or you can just do it one time at the whole site level, and it'll be the same for every page because you've managed it one time at the site. So when you take the time to manage it at every individual page, if you don't go to every page and manage your SEO, at least take the time one time to do it at the site level by going to settings and click on SEO. Give your site a title, some basic description, and some keywords. Keywords now are optional because Google's changed that, and they're no longer really even considering that in the search engines. So I personally don't waste any time on keywords, but title and site description are really, really important for you to take the time and come out here and do that as well. Google Analytics, as I mentioned earlier, we already have Analytics, our own system built in. But if you want Google Analytics for whatever reason, you can just drop in their little tracking code that they give you in here, and it will start tracking the site. So that's real easy, but now it's kind of optional because we've got our own. There's a URL redirect, so if we're going to create other redirects for your site, we can do that. Most people don't. That header HTML that I talked about earlier is here as well, and backups, which is really cool. Every time you publish your site, you'll see a new backup created in here. And you say, actually, I've been playing with this one already. And every time I hit republish at the top, it's going to create a backup point, backup restore point. So we can come back here and easily roll it back to any previous version anytime you want by just clicking the restore button. So you guys have control of that, or we can do it for you. So as you start out learning your site, come in here and add some pages, add some widgets, add all kinds of stuff to it. And don't worry about it because you can always roll the whole thing back to any previous version. Now, keep in mind that when we roll it back to a previous version, that means all changes after that version are wiped out. So if you're working on your site for a whole week and you decide, oh, I want to roll it back a week, that means everything during that week is now wiped out. We can't just pick and choose what we're going to restore from. So kind of do that delicately. If you find that you restored too far back, you can actually unrestore, go back to the latest version as well. So, restoring isn't a once and done and you've lost everything kind of thing. You can restore back and forth to different versions. And you'll see quite a few different versions are kept here. So you can restore at any time, or we can do that for you if you're a little nervous with it. Site language. So we talked about the editor language, and we can change the language of the editor. We can do that by clicking on the info and tools and click on editor language. That changes the editor language, but there's also the site language. So we can change the information of the site itself to specific languages. So that gives you, it's a little bit broader. And again, this isn't just the editor anymore. This is the actual site itself. So if you need your whole site to be in a specific language, go right ahead and change the language. You can do that there. Privacy settings. More and more sites, especially foreign sites, anything in Europe, has a cookie notification page. They call it GDPR. I don't recall what it stands for, but it's everywhere and super annoying. But if you want to put up a cookie notification, you can do that. And it's got some default language there. You can change that language as you see fit. So we don't use it in the US, and it's kind of useless everywhere else too, but they are required to have it in Europe. If you want to do that, you can just click it, turn it on. There's also a privacy page. If you have to create a privacy page for whatever reason, you can add that in your navigation, or you can click customize, and you can even go in there and customize the verbiage of your privacy page. And there's kind of a template there. You can simply go in and change the basic content of it and kind of customize it as you see fit. So personally, I am not a big fan of it, but it doesn't really matter. I just use the default and just leave it at that. So let's see, I'm going to deactivate that. So you can turn on or off the privacy settings as you see fit. Depending on what your school requires, you can do that. Then there's a 404 page. And a 404 page basically is an alert notification to a broken link. So if you've created a page about dinosaurs on your website and you have links going out to that dinosaur page, but then later you delete it for whatever reason, you just don't want it on your site anymore, but you didn't delete the original link, now that link is going to go to a page that no longer exists. It happens all the time. It happens with documents. Maybe you had a document up there for the cafeteria or field trip or something coming up, and now you've deleted it because it's no longer relevant, but you forgot to delete the link to it. Well, instead of it just show a simple 404 page, which looks like this, but you can customize it to be whatever you want. And if you just take a second and go Google 404 pages, there's a lot of really cute, goofy, kind of fun stuff out there. So you can click on Customize Page, and you can manage your 404 page however you see fit too. So you can change that as well. So that's really easy to manage. So if you want to go, if you've got a few minutes and want to play with 404 pages, you can certainly do that. Then very last in the list is our Progressive Web App. So we can basically turn your website into an app for mobile and tablet devices. And so we can simply turn on the Progressive Web App. We can enable a prompt for mobile users. And essentially, it's going to turn your website into an app on their phone. And so they'll see your little icon that you can add right here, whatever the icon is, and they'll click on that, and it'll pop up and open your website in an app. So it's very cool. So even if they're offline, they can read your website and access it. So it's pretty neat. Again, that's a very cool tool. Great way to instantly load your website for mobile users because it kind of downloads your entire website right on their device and makes it accessible for anybody, even if they're not online. But it also loads it extremely fast as well. So it's literally instant when they load their site. So those are the options under settings, and those are the options across the top. And we talked about all these different things in here. Again, I want to reiterate where the help is. You can click on the little question mark on the far right, click on the help link, or go to campuscontact.com and click on the support link and access all the help there as well. Again, we are going to have a deeper class very shortly at 4 o'clock today, talking about how to use all this stuff that we just talked about, all of the widgets. We're going to talk about building pages and columns and rows and design, and we're going to talk about all that fun stuff at our 4 o'clock meeting. But for now, that's pretty much the overall high-level overview of where everything is. So I'll open it up to any questions that you guys have at this point. Give me 1 second, and we'll open up. Do that. I forget how to do that. Unmute all. Anybody have any questions at this point? Oh, there we go. How about now? I had it muted. Any questions from anybody? It's awfully quiet out there. Well, no worries. You'll probably have questions at the 4 o'clock training, which is where it gets to be a little bit more fun. And we'll talk about how to manage things like photos, because there's actually a built-in photo editor in the system, which is really cool. One thing we can do now is we can edit photos. We can actually, there's a full-blown image editor. So if you want to come in here and change the photo, we can add text on photos. We can add lots of cool little filters to photos. We can put little stickers on them. We can do brushes, and we can filters. We can adjust the photos. We can do the contrast and frames around them and all kind of really cool stuff. So it's kind of like a little mini Photoshop built into the website. There's a lot of other cool stuff that we'll talk about in terms of editing and managing the site, such as design. And we'll talk about the distinction between design and content at the 4 o'clock meeting. So unless you guys have anything else, that's all I've got to ramble about for the first session. Anybody? All right, I'm going to be putting this class on campuscontact.com/training, and you'll see it there. You just scroll down and click on the training classes, and you'll see this one on there. And if you have any questions, just let us know. You can always hit us up, campuscontact.com, click on the little help link, or click on the support link, and we'll do live chat. You can call us, of course, email us, submit a trouble ticket, whatever it is you need. So anything else, have a wonderful day. We'll see you at 4 o'clock for the more in-depth training. Have a great day.